And welcome back to Drury University as we continue our coverage of the National Christian Homeschool Basketball Championships 30th edition. My name is Paul Gilmore alongside Scott Staten, bringing you the action live of this boys 18 and under Division II Copper East Division Championship between the Tulsa Chef Arrows out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the HAACH Cougars.
And if you're sitting at home, Paul, you might want to real quick try to do the explanation, because you start to hear these age brackets, and yeah, I get the 18U, but also it's D2, Copper, West, East, North, South. You know, what is this going on? You might explain. We got some big trophies behind us going to be handed out. Yeah,
so what that looks like for these boys is they played a seeding game on Monday, which ironically was these two teams that played that seeding game, and it was the HAACH Cougars that came out on top by 4 points. Then that put them into their respective pools, which is Pool A and Pool B. So after that happened, they both won their pool games, and the pool winners of Pool A and Pool B play each other for this championship, and it happened to be both Tulsa and HAACH. So the rematch is going to be for a big trophy.
Gold balls are cool, but I got to say, the ones sitting behind us, they're pretty tall. There's some heavy. Jeremy brought those over just so I could feel how heavy they were, and that's gonna cost him some gas money getting that thing home.
It's gonna look nice on the trophy case. That three-pointer is up, and that is good for Jared Dimoff.
Dimoff spotted up, got his legs underneath him, and you could tell that was in when it left his hands.
So quick 3-0 lead for HAACH. On the drive, Tulsa working the offense now, and we have a traveling violation. So to finish that thought on their pool play, Tulsa Chef beat Monroe County 60-45, and they beat the Paris Warriors 60-51 to win Pool A. Meanwhile, HAACH beat CHS Knights 70-67, and then Modesto Warriors 62-59. So HAACH had some close games in their pool, but won both, and they were the pool winners of that pool.
That time, Dimoff had spotted up. He thought he even had it. He started to back away, and you could see as it rattled around and then popped out, he kind of shrugged his shoulders like, how? That was in. That was good. And then there's a foul. That is called on HAACH.
Yep, they called that on Prees, and that's his first foul.
Tulsa looking to get something started here. Not really had any good looks yet.
That time on the drive, flipped up no good, was Ethan Stout, and now HAACH comes the other way.
This is one of those unusual games, although it happens some deeper in the tournament, as there's a foul there on the shot. But early in the tournament, you have teams that probably have never seen each other. They're from all over the country, but now as you get deeper into it, like you said, these teams have already played each other this week, and now they're facing again, and we're going to see that some tonight as they're in some of the national Final Four games. There's teams that have played each other because they've seen each other during the regular season, and now they've all worked their way back all the way to the championship.
And that's ultimately the way that the tournament is designed, is if you win your way through, then you've got to play whoever's in front of you. And it could be an opponent you face at a regional, you face at a district, or maybe all of them, as Kyle was able to hit both and extends the lead to 5-0. Arrow still looking to get on the board.
Tulsa needs an answer here.
Good interior passing, and a good attempt was up by Ethan Bynum, but couldn't connect.
A couple times already in this tournament, we've seen teams that jump out to early leads as it now grows to 7 for HAACH.
And that was a basket by Caleb Schultz.
But in the last game, as we saw it, it was 9-0 after one quarter, but it ended up being tied multiple times. It was pretty tight throughout.
Good job by the Cougars to box out as the ball fell into the hands of their players for a transition fast break, and then Dimoff is unable to complete the layup.
Gotta wonder, the official could have called goaltending there as the player slapped the backboard while the ball was still in the rim area, but he let that one go.
And HAACH is playing in extended zone. They're working, they have a defender all the way at the high post. Baseline jumper, no good. And you see teams do that a lot. They try and take away the looks that teams are looking for.
Yeah.
And not that Tulsa Chef can't hit those baseline jumpers, but that may not be what they're comfortable shooting.
Really, really eerily similar to the game before this one, where Chisholm came in, a high-powered offense, and they just could not get anything to drop the whole first quarter.
Meanwhile, Baker drops in a 3, and it's quickly 10-0.
10-0 run to start this game, and you do not like to look up and spot the other team 10 points.
And a big-time answer from Shipman as he gets the arrows on the board.
Has a nice spot up, and he's got a good shot. You've seen him shooting before the game, and you saw him earlier this week, and he's very capable of doing that all game long if he can get some open looks.
Free throw line jumper, no good from Schultz. Tulsa quickly the other way.
Boy, they had him on the wing again. He clapped for it, but it was a little late, but that's all right. He'll fire it from up top.
And that time the shot is short, goes out of bounds, and it will go back to the Cougars.
Tulsa seems maybe a step slow when it comes to recognizing where the open shooter is on their team right now. They're finding seams in that zone, but that time they were just a little bit late, and that forced Shipman to bring it up top and try to shoot from there.
Nice interior pass is going to lead to a free throw jumper for Schultz. That's his second basket. He's got 4, and the lead is back to 9.
And that's a case where you can see the follow through on his shot. If he doesn't follow through there, that ball probably does not roll over the front of that rim. He just got good motion, good rotation on the ball, and got the shooter's touch.
So that will be a quick timeout for Tulsa Chef Arrows. We want to thank you again if you're joining us from Oklahoma and anywhere else in the country. We want to thank you, and we're appreciative of you joining us and spending your time with us. We know you get to watch your loved ones, but it does mean a lot for us. You can catch all the action around the country. I mean, not around the country. I guess you can if you watch the NCAA tournament. You can catch the action all around Springfield if you watch Baller TV. They're covering all the courts that we are not. So Drury and BBC is YouTube, and all the other ones are Baller TV.
Well, and you can watch it all around the country wherever you are. In terms of they are all over the country, people that are watching. We got a note, a quick, nice little tweet out from Cincinnati's former coach in that previous game, Suzanne Riley. And now that she's not coaching, she watches from home in Ohio, and was very appreciative of that. She's just not just a great coach, but a great person, and she's left her mark on that program, and that was a huge win for Cincinnati. But wherever you are, glad that you are joining us, and thanks for letting us do what we love to do.
On the inbounds, we've got a turnover straight away. Cougars driving, flipped up, and no good. And they will give continuation, so going to the line shooting 2 will be Wade Kyle.
Drained his first 2 free throws, and he'll try to continue to stay perfect there.
Scott, have you ever been to Howell, Michigan?
I got to be honest with you. I've been to Michigan, but it's usually been in an airport in Detroit. And one time, just to say that I've actually been on the land in Michigan because I live in Indianapolis, I had to meet somebody somewhere near South Bend. I drove just a little ways, crossed the line, turned around and came back. So I haven't really ever spent time there. So no, I would say the odds are I don't think I've been in Howell, Michigan unless it's right down on the border.
Fair enough. I wanted to give credit. Obviously, I knew where Tulsa Chef Arrows are from. I did not know where HAACH is from, as the jumper is up and good for Bynum. So I looked it up. They're from Howell, Michigan. So I want to give a shout out to anybody watching in Michigan.
Michigan is one of those places. It's on my list of. I've technically been there, but I'd love to go up, and it's just beautiful with the right on Lake Michigan, and just all kinds of crazy fall foliage. Every time I want to go in the fall, usually I've been coaching or something, but maybe I'll have to make that happen this year, and this will give me a reason.
And not sure if the people in Howell are fans of the Michigan Wolverines, but they got a big win today over Colorado State.
Keeping my bracket from falling apart with the first game. You got to hate it when you fill out a bracket and game number 1 you're wrong on. The way things were going in the first half for Michigan, I thought, well, here we go. But they were able to come back and win that one.
So the Chef Arrows come back the other way, trailing by 8. Still looking for some answers against the zone. Three-pointer is up, and that's the second one. That's good for Shipman.
Yeah, they're hanging around. That could be demoralizing when you play somebody and you look up and you're down 10-0, but since then they've gone on an 8-3 run.
Dimoff drives. Some contact, but they're going to say it's a clean block out of bounds. It'll stay with HAACH.
You like the aggression from Dimoff there. You don't necessarily love that shot. That's a really hard shot to make going that fast and not really being able to square up. And you'd like him to stop and go straight up, get his feet underneath him, and then put that shot in. He's got a beautiful jumper.
And that time, Dimoff is going to lose the handle. Coming back the other way, Euro stepping and affecting the shot was Dimoff. And then on the follow-up, we've got an and one as Marks is able to put it in.
John Marks. That's going to cut it now down to 3 points and a chance to cut it to 2. So since starting the game 10-0, HAACH has really slowed things down. They've been missing shots, turning it over, and the Chef Arrows have taken advantage of that and come all the way back to cut it down to 3.
And in that first game, we saw it was a 4-point game. So these teams are used to playing each other close, at least once this week, as Dimoff shows the range.
Yeah, he's got that pure stroke, and that's why that last shot where I said you don't really want him to shoot that way, he knows how to shoot. And so you'd much rather him just get to his spot and put that up.
That time Shipman had a lot of time and space, but unable to connect. Three-pointer back the other way. That's too strong. Pace is picking up as both teams looking to get some transition baskets.
Under a minute to go in a 6-point game. Chef Arrow has been hanging around, keeping it close. Oh, thought about the 3 there.
And that was a missed opportunity from Marks. Nice free throw line jumper is good for Schultz. That's his 3rd basket of the first period. He's got 6, and that extends the lead to 8.
HAACH has some shooters, for sure.
20 seconds remaining in the opening period. On the inside, that's going to be tipped by Nathan Hamilton. Back the other way come the Cougars. On the drive. A lot of contact all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a blocking foul. They gave that to Shipman. That's his 2nd. And it's going to send Wade Kyle back to the free throw line. He's already got 3 free throws.
Yeah, Wade Kyle is one of those players that knows how to get himself opportunities to shoot free throws, and he's not afraid of the contact. We've seen 3 different times now where he's driven down the right side of the lane, and even though he's not been able to put the shot in, he has been able to score points from the free throw line.
That he has, as he is now 5 of 6 from the free throw line here in just the first quarter. Final seconds of the opening period. Three-pointer in the corner is going to be up. And that is a big-time response at the end of the quarter from Thaddeus Graves, as that cuts the deficit from double digits down to 7. And after 1 period of play, we have the HAACH Cougars 20, Tulsa Chef Arrows 13. Back with second quarter action and more after this intermission. Welcome back to Drury University here in Springfield, Missouri, as we continue the action of boys 18 and under, Division II Copper East first place game between the HAACH Cougars out of Michigan and Tulsa out of Oklahoma. First quarter saw a lot of scoring from both teams as they're not afraid to fire up the 3-ball, as we saw right there. And we saw Hatch open up as much as a 10-point lead before Tulsa hit the final 3-pointer of the quarter. Good feed inside, and that shot is up too strong, but ultimately on the rebound attempt, it was Hamilton who threw it out of bounds.
Yeah, Hatch had a 10-0 run to start this game, but since then, Chef has outscored them, and that 3-pointer was the difference right at the end of the buzzer.
Pretty looking jumper from Alex Jones as Tulsa continues to chip away.
Paul, over in the NCAA tournament, keep an eye on that. No real upsets yet, but right now in the second half, Richmond leads Iowa by 3, and early in the first half, about halfway through, Georgia State leads Gonzaga, the overall #1 seed.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yep.
As the basket is up and in from Nathan Hamilton. I definitely know a lot about Georgia State, as my alma mater, Texas State, is in the Sun Belt with them.
Yeah, and they've made some noise before in the tournament for sure.
They certainly have. Remember when they had R.J. Hunter?
Yep.
3-pointer, no good. Offensive rebound, another possession gained on the baseline, up and can't quite get the and one, but the foul's going to be on Hamilton.
He put some English on that one. I don't even know how he got that to even come close to going in, but it barely rimmed out.
And that's going to be Kit Zervis that goes to the free throw line. First free throw, no good. Certainly would be something if Chet Holmgren and Gonzaga get knocked out as a 1 seed in the first game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are a loaded team for sure, and just have been knocking on that national championship door. Got so close. They've been to the championship game twice in this decade, but man, they just can't finish the job.
And that's a traveling violation. Yeah, I remember the shot last year with Jalen Suggs hitting that game winner.
Oh, in my where I'm living at now in Indianapolis, every game was in Indianapolis, and had I not been at this, I probably would have been to a whole lot more, but even with COVID, they were allowing some local fans to get in, and it was a kind of a unique thing to have everything right around your city, but because of COVID, it wasn't like you could go to everything.
And so we had a missed jumper on one end, and that leads to a layup on the other end, but too strong. And the player that missed the layup is still down court, so they pass it up to him, and they misses that one. Feels that's Ethan Stout, who's felt a couple times like there should have been a whistle of some kind.
Late to get up the court, but he hustles and almost comes away with the steal. And I had to laugh a little bit, Paul, because in that last sequence, Stout had fallen down, thought he got fouled, and was holding his leg like he was hurt. But as soon as his team stole the ball, he jumped up and immediately grabbed it and went in for the drive. And, you know, it was instant healing. And sometimes that happens in basketball. All of a sudden you realize the opportunity for you and your team, and you can shake off what hurt initially and be able to try to get back into the game.
The power of basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got healing properties.
Apparently it does.
And that's going to be a double dribble as he controls the. It looks like Jones is having a debate about whether or not he actually had control. The referee disagrees.
Well, and sometimes that does get confusing when you're watching. If they come down and they don't actually have control, but the ball bounces off the floor and then they gather it, then they can dribble. But the official said that time he grabbed it, dribbled, stopped, and started dribbling again. And that was a turnover.
And that time on the ensuing inbounds, there was a turnover. The ball goes back to Tulsa. In the far corner to
Pretty
Shipman.
Bounce pass.
That three-pointer short. Rebound is tipped to Zervis, who puts it up, and it's going to be blocked, but also a little bit of contact on the body. And that's going to be a foul on Prees.
I don't know, Paul, does it show that you used to coach when you say things and you have an admiration for bounce passes? Because I used to get on my team so much. I can't tell you how many times if they'd have just gone with a bounce pass and instead of trying to throw it through the defender. And, so I keep seeing these and going, oh, great bounce pass. And I was talking with one of the kids earlier, and they're like, you like that bounce pass? And I said, yeah, I do, and I bet your coach does too.
Yep, a lot of the times when that bounce pass can make it through, especially as it goes through, threading a needle or through the defense, it just is so exciting to me, maybe not to the players.
Well, and tall players, I'm tall, you don't want to bend down that far to the floor to get the ball because even if you dive for it, a lot of times it's going to bounce past you and you're out of position then. So Yeah, that was pretty.
So that's going to be a full timeout as HAACH still has a 22-17 lead in the second quarter of the boys 18 and under Division II Copper game.
Copper West, as you were mentioning earlier. Looks like we've got two different regions of that, Copper West, Copper East. I think the East comes up after this one, if I'm not mistaken.
So I think on the bracket it was saying this is the East.
Okay.
I think West is later, but
I think you might be right about that.
But I'm also not sure if the seeding put them regionally anyways.
Right, right.
You have Michigan and Oklahoma.
That's
I
true.
think it may just be more of a placeholder.
That's true.
This could be north-south.
Yep, yep. Maybe it's like the NCAA tournament. You might play in the West region and be from Boston.
Right. Maybe from West Boston.
Well, that's true. That's true. West Boston. I don't know that we've lost our if you've been here in Drury, it's a beautiful arena, but our screen and kept the score and all that at the one end of the court to our right is been off now, and so during this game, even though they have the right teams listed, there's no scores, and so we're having to look over our heads to catch the score of this one.
So I imagine for those later games tonight, they're going to try and have that back on. As another turnover, Tulsa finding themselves battling back. That one was last touched by the Arrows.
And want to compliment Drury University. I've never been in this arena, and it is gorgeous. Just a perfect setting for this kind of a tournament. And I'm even wondering, it's going to be at capacity, I believe, tomorrow.
That ball is tipped and stolen away. On the drive, put up and in, just off the front rim as Stout drove in. Foul was on Demoff. That's his first.
Stout creating opportunities for himself. We're back to a 4-point game. Kind of tell these teams have played each other. They both seem like they have some awareness of where to get on the floor and just keeping it close. Every time it seems like HAACH is going to start to pull away a little bit, they are unable to do so, and right now it's back to a 2-point game.
Both these teams have also been great from the free throw line as they've had 5 apiece.
Yep. It's total opposite of the game before this. That girls' game, as Chisholm went down to defeat, they missed so many free throws. We didn't have the official stats, but Jeremy and I were talking, and had to be at least 10 missed free throws. And when you end up losing a game that's close, boy, that just is a heartbreaker.
Baseline drive, and a wild shot is going to be a charge, and that is called on Baker. No, excuse me, that's Kyle.
So if you're watching the game and if you couldn't see everything as well, we're right down on the court. Even though the defender left his feet, he maintained his plane, and the shoulder was lowered on the other end by Kyle. And when he did that, he went into the area and completely knocked down the defender, and so that's why that was a charge.
So now the Arrows have a chance to take the first lead of the game.
And not that they played poorly, but you look up the clock or look at the scoreboard, it's kind of surprising the way this pace has gone, that Tulsa really has an opportunity right now to tie this up.
And that time they whistle the foul on Josiah Baker, his first. And again, back to the free throw line is Ethan Stout. He just knocked down 2 not too long ago. Connects on the first.
Yep, both of these teams can shoot free throws. And in a game that looks like it's going to stay close, that's going to be super important.
And can't connect on the second. So HAACH will maintain their 1-point advantage. In the corner, 3-pointer short for Demoff.
Halfway through this quarter, and we got a really close one. And Tulsa Chef, props to them that they didn't just give up as they looked up and it's 10-0 and get further into this tournament. Your legs get tired, your body gets tired, but at the same time, you also realize your number of games are decreasing, especially for seniors. And so maybe they're able to kind of dig down deep, and they've been able to claw back into this and cut it to 1.
Dimoff back out top, three-pointer, no. Battle for an offensive rebound. That's going to be collected by Schultz, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And it's interesting because sometimes you're going to see players go to the floor and no foul is called, and then a player will feel like my hand barely touched the other hand and you called a foul. But a lot of times it has to do with positioning, where the players are, where the officials are, and that time some contact inside, and looked like number 23, Caleb Shipman, had been knocked to the floor, but the official said it was inadvertent and let that one go. And then later on, as the shot was put up by Schultz, he was able to get the foul called.
Both free throws, rainbow, pretty looking shots from Caleb Schultz.
Lead back up to 3 now.
Three-pointer is on the way, too strong.
Would have tied it up.
Offensive rebound, put back up and in.
Oh, that was strong.
Big time move by Ethan Bynum, and full court pressure being applied again.
Bynum had 2 players around him there, but he was able to come away with the ball, even though statistics would have told you he had a less than half a chance as the players around him, but he was able to get it. And then not only that, he split the defenders and put it in to cut that lead back down to 1.
And that time it was Kyle who had the errant pass over the hands of Dimoff. Turnaround jumper, short, getting his own rebound and back into the corner for a 3. That's short.
Oh, rattles in and out again.
And then we're going to have a loose ball foul called on Bynum as he bumped Dimoff as they try to grab the rebound.
Tulsa Chef twice there had open looks at the 3, and had those gone down, they would have grabbed a lead.
So now Hatch quickly comes across the timeline. That's going to be poked away and then re-stolen. And that's going to be over and back as Dimoff had not quite made it past the half-court line.
We've seen this a couple different times. Kyle's had the ball stolen, but he doesn't stop on the play. And sometimes you realize as another team gets a steal, they are quickly looking ahead to try to go into transition. And if you stay with the ball, you're going to be able to at least tip it, if not get it back for your own team.
And that time a little bit too aggressive was Kyle, as he couldn't stop his forward momentum while he attempted to go for the steal. And that's going to send Graves to the free throw line.
Can they finally get over the hump? They've been close enough to take the lead a couple of times, and nope, not again, but there's the rebound.
Offensive rebound. They worked the ball inside to Bynum, left it short. Really gave his full effort as he dove on the floor. That's a jump ball going back to Hatch.
Could have been a football. He dove for the first down there. I mean, he was extended to try to get that ball back for his team.
Put him in for a QB sneak.
Yeah.
So now Kyle works the handle against the press. That's going to be poked away, but not before there's a reach-in foul called on Zervis, his first.
Yeah, he did a good job and actually tipped the ball away, but his momentum carried him into the ball handler, and the official calls the foul. Is right on top of it.
First free throw, no good from Kyle.
Boy, he's been money at the line, but that one rattled out. Couldn't keep it down.
Arrows still looking for their first lead of the game. They've been stuck at this spot for the last several minutes. Three-pointer, Shipman, no. Offensive rebound, Bynum, no. Second effort, yes.
Oh. He has been nonstop on the offensive boards. And finally, it pays off as they climb all the way back up the mountain, being down 10-0, and finally grab their first lead of the game.
25-24, under 2 minutes to go in the first half. And again, this is for some hardware. All the games at Drury today and tomorrow are going to be either goal balls, national semifinals, undisputed national championships. It's a furious finish for our week here at Nationals.
Yeah, a basketball-filled heavenly week. It's been a lot of fun games, and Yeah, there's been some games that haven't been as close, but even in those, there's been some great performances that we've seen. We've seen some buzzer beaters. We've seen some dunks. We've seen some crazy, great action. And looking forward to more. We don't know what lies ahead, but we are expecting some incredible activity tonight between some of the best teams in the nation.
So we will come back into the game under 2 minutes of play in the half. Chef Arrows grab their first lead, 25-24. We'll see how Hatch responds. Demoff on the drive.
Out of the timeout, you really want to get a good look.
Spinning on the interior, no good, rebound Bynum.
If he'd used the backboard there, he had an easy shot.
Three-pointer, yes. And now Tulsa's feeling it, as that's the second three-pointer from Graves. When it rains, it pours.
Oh, man. Since the 10-0 to start the game where they were trailing, they've gone on a 28-14 run.
On the drive.
There you go.
Excellent drive and put up and in by Prees. And he'll get a chance to complete the trifecta.
Smart players are able to, when they miss a shot or make a mistake, to remember enough of what they did wrong that the next time they get in that situation, they're able to make corrections. And that time, rather than go for the 4-foot jump shot, he went ahead and took it all the way to the board, and that resulted in scoring opportunity, hit the shot, and a chance with the free throw.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Thaddeus Graves, second consecutive triple, third for the game. And then on the inbounds underneath, they lost Prees, and he got another easy layup.
That sequence, we saw the same player do the same thing twice for both teams.
Graves thought about it. Nice running floater for Zervis.
Yes, sir.
His first basket of the game, but his 5th point, and it's a 4-point lead.
All of a sudden, it's Hatch trying to make a comeback.
Three-pointer, no, from Demoff. And the final 10 seconds, Tulsa has a chance to extend that lead. They're going to hold for the final shot. Wow.
Oh!
Wow. Thaddeus is trying to send them to their graves. As we finish the first half of play, Tulsa Chef Arrows 36, Hatch Cougars 29. Second half action of this furious contest and more coming after this. Welcome back to Drury University.
40.
We are here at O'Reilly Pit Court as we have second half action coming up between the Tulsa Chef Arrows and the HAACH Cougars. We had a quick pause in the action as one of the referees had to go back down the hallway, I believe, to get his whistle. That seems like it would come in handy. And Graves tries to start the second half like he finished the first, but no good on that attempt.
That was a heat check, and apparently he got cooled off a little too much during halftime.
Demoff kicks it back out. Three-point attempt is going to be up, and that is a good-looking shot from Prees.
Yep, he's had a couple nice looks today and shown some range there, but the lead is still 4. An impressive comeback by Tulsa.
Cross-court pass Graves. And he shuffled his feet.
Yep. He hesitated, and the only person he fooled was himself as he gets the turnover.
4-point lead for Tulsa. HAACH trying to get back into the game they were playing in the first quarter. On the drive and flipped up and in. Nice move from Josiah Baker.
They got it down to 2 now. They seem to start both halves well.
Baseline drive flipped up, no good. Rebound, last touch by Bynum.
Saw some great board work by Ethan Bynum towards the end of that second quarter where the Tulsa Chef team made their run and the Arrows were able to take the lead for the first time. That time the ball went out of bounds off of him.
Now once again on the drive, flipped up, tough left-hand shot by Baker.
Little dipsy-do scoop, and we're all knotted up again.
When these teams faced off on Monday, it was a 4-point win for HAACH, so certainly expect some close contest today. Nice drive laid up and in for Stout.
Yep, he recognized on the perimeter that he had a direct line to the basket, and so he took it straight in and was able to convert there.
Underneath, nice find, as that's going to be a foul called on Stout. He thought he had all ball, but instead it will be Prees going to the free throw line.
Yeah, Prees backed into that. The ball was a little bit too far, but he was able to chase it down, and then as he stepped back to put it in, the defender was out of position, and he gets called for the hack.
The ball hit every part of the rim and bounces out. Checking in for the Arrows is Shipman.
Ashton Baldwin will take a seat after that foul.
Second is good.
Tulsa with a 1-point lead. As we said, that's kind of how the game right before this one was.
Graves, no. Shipman, the offensive rebound. That three-point attempt is on the way, and that is no good from Zervis. Another offensive rebound, and bounce pass on the baseline to Bynum, short. Shipman tried to rip the ball away, and that's going to be a jump ball. So good hustle from Shipman, but the possession arrow is still with the Cougars.
Man, that pass there was a rocket. I'm not even sure how Bynum was able to pull that in, but they couldn't turn it into points, but great job just even catching that one.
Give and go.
Oh, he got it.
It's going to be an and one as the shot attempt from Kyle is good. Foul was called on Shipman. That's the third foul on Caleb Shipman. And now at the free throw line will be Kyle, who hit 5 of them in the first quarter.
And now the Cougars wrestle the lead back. We saw in the first half he's able to get to the bucket. He never did convert the shots, so he had to go to the free throw line. But that time he's able to get it to fall and then gets the three-point play.
And like Scott mentioned, that gives the Cougars the lead back once again. Back and forth affair here in Drury. Bynum with the three-point attempt. No. Big man showing a little range there, but unable to connect. That time a wild shot attempt is going to be tipped out. by Prees, but it's to Shipman.
It's a good job by Bynum on the defensive end there, staying straight up.
Nice hands by Zervis, flips it up over the top, and then it's going to be knocked away. But back to the Cougars.
Prees had the rebound, but then Zervis knocked it out of his hands.
Good body control by Kyle to kind of bend his way around the defender and then use the backboard to his advantage.
4-point game now. Another lead for Hatch. Can Tulsa find it in themselves to make another comeback and try to get a lead they can hold on to? It's been elusive.
Underneath, baseline jumper, no. Offensive rebound, Bynum, and then we're going to have a foul.
Bynum has really been active on that glass. He has been able to create opportunities for himself. In the first half, we saw him do some things that you have to do, and that's when you're facing a team that seems to be taller than you, you're able to get in there, and there's just one of you going against two, and he frequently comes away with the win. But unfortunately now an injury. It sounds like, I think that was Prees, went down hard, and he said his knee is, or it looks like his knee rather, is in some pain. They're going to help him off the court. He's starting to walk it off a little. And if you've ever played basketball, I'm sure you know what that's like. Multiple times, your knee you can land the wrong way, you can run into somebody else's knee, and man, when it first happens and it goes numb, it feels like something bad is wrong. But hopefully he's okay. Trying to stretch it out now on the bench.
And that time Zervis was denied. Kyle flips it up, no good, and he's fouled by Bynum. So Kyle has just shown some relentless effort as he drives to the basket pretty much every time down now for Hatch.
Yes, sir. You want to try to get yourself opportunities, get their ball in the hands of this guy. Kyle, every single time that he's gotten the ball and he's got a lane, he's going to take it.
And he's been money from the free throw line, as I think he's made 7 of 8 now. Make that 8 of 9.
And that lead continues to expand, 44-38.
Three-pointer from Graves.
Wow.
He gets back in the scoreboard. That's his 5th triple of the game.
Little Steph.
On the far side, no good. Offensive rebound and putback is good for Schultz.
Stayed with it. First shot, he was underneath the basket, so when he shot at it, hit the underside of the rim, but went straight back into his hands, and he just laid it off the board that time, next time.
And that is going to be a reach-in foul as the ball was poked away by Schultz, but also had some contact on it. So 5-point lead for the Hatch Cougars with 3 minutes and 34 seconds to go on the inbounds. They leave Graves alone and nearly hit another one. And then on the rebound, they also tried to pass it off, and we're going to have a foul that's going to be called.
They leave Graves alone is not something you want to hear if you're watching this game and rooting for Hatch. He has drained 5 3-pointers and nearly hit a couple more. And that time he was left open but was unable to connect, but still the Arrow is able to get the ball and have another chance to cut into this lead again.
And that's a good point, Scott. We easily could be looking at Graves' stat line right now, and he could have 7 or 8.
Yes. His shot, I mean, he's the kind of player, even when he misses it, it looks like it could have gone.
And we're going to have a full timeout, so we'll take another break with them and be back right after this. Back once more at Drury University, which on YouTube is our Channel 2. Also want to give a shout out to our Channel 1. The guys over at BBC are calling a barn burner right now of a boys 14 game. HEA up by 1 against Dallas HSAA.
Wow. These are the kind of games we love. And this one, even though it's a 4-point game, it's been back and forth. Both teams have traded leads. And both teams still with a equal opportunity to be able to pull this one out. There's plenty of time left. Just 3 minutes still, though, in the third.
And there's the hot man, Graves. Got a good look out of the inbounds and almost hit another one.
Even when he misses.
Dimoff does a good job of saving that hectic play.
Thought that was coming over to us.
I saw you loading up, ready to shoot.
I was. Put me in, coach.
Three-pointer on the far side, and that's good. Nice looking shot from Hively. That's his first basket. Graves. That time might have been a little bit quick on the trigger, trying to get a quick response.
Yep, little rush there.
Dimoff. No good. Rebound is pulled down by Jones. Now coming back the other way are the Arrows.
That lead, if they're not careful here, is creeping closer and closer to what it was at the beginning of the game when they were down by 10.
So 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. The lead has been extended by 7 from the boys from Michigan.
Howell, Michigan, as you said.
Offensive rebound. Bynum comes over the top. Ball stays with the Cougars.
And he climbed the ladder there.
All the way back out top. Nearly tipped away by Shipman. That time the three-pointer no good. A good job on the box out as the ball hit the floor before anybody grabbed it. That's how you know everybody was boxing out. Nice bounce pass underneath to Bynum. Big response for the Arrows. They're going to need to get some more of those as we head into the closure of this game.
Yeah, Bynum has been the muscle for the Arrows down low. That time he just shows that strength again.
Kyle, once again, has been the aggressor for HAACH. That time the foul was called on the floor, and they called that one against Jones. Or no, excuse me, against Zervis.
We can tell they're tired. For a lot of these guys, this is already their 5th game of the week.
That time Kyle wanted it down low, also wanted the foul, but good job on the defense by the Arrows.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of contact. He did that up and under, which is a beautiful move, and thought he had it.
In the corner, Shipman pump fakes. Was looking for Graves. Instead, that ball was read and stolen away by Baker.
Yeah, and you know who else was looking for that shot outside? Baker. That's why he got it. He was well aware of where the shooter was on the floor.
That time Bynum pulls up. Rebound comes to Kyle. Final 30 seconds of the third quarter. HAACH leads by 5. Working in the post. That shot is going to be up. No good. Rebound is ultimately tipped and saved. That time spinning, twirling, blocked. Good job by Tulsa once again on the defensive end as they denied Schultz multiple times.
Alex Jones did not give up on the play. He got beat, but from behind, he's able to impact that play and block the ball.
In the corner, Graves. Yes.
6 of those.
Not a bad look from Kyle across the court, but that's going to do it at the end of 3. We are almost where we started this game. HAACH leads 2, 49-47. Final 8 minutes to decide the champion after this intermission.
When my body needs relief, I real-time it. I'd like to introduce you to my knockout pain formula, real-time pain relief. Its soothing lotion is rich in nature's ingredients and helps me manage discomfort day or night. And it smells great too. From muscle strains to soreness to simple backaches and arthritis. Real time it and knock out your pain. It works for me and it will work for you. Real time pain relief. It's a knockout.
Eight minutes from hardware in Drury University. Hatch leads 49-47. When we say hardware, you weren't kidding about the weight of that trophy. We believe it might have some real marble in it.
Oh, and it's very tall. Like if we put it on the table down here, I think Darren might not be able to see the court. It's massive.
That's what these boys are playing for. Good pocket pass on the inside and connection with Alex Jones. Tie ball game.
We're right back where we started. All of that work, and we're basically going to have a game of a little over 7 minutes, starting over again 0-0.
And Kyle gets blocked from behind. A late whistle. Tulsa doesn't like it, but it will send Kyle back to the free throw line.
I think he got further under the basket than he wanted to, and that shot hit the bottom of the backboard. And that's one reason I think the Arrows were when they didn't hear the first whistle, they were a little bit shocked to hear it a little bit later.
A rare miss from Kyle. Again, unofficially still 80% from the free throw line, though.
Yeah, he is a master at getting himself either an open look right around the basket or a foul. He can get to the free throw line. He's one of those players that I would imagine just about every game has upwards of 9 or 10 free throws every single time.
Does an excellent job of getting himself to the line. Zervis faked the handoff, that time no good on the baseline runner. Now Kyle comes the other way. Dimoff. Dimoff the three, no. Graves the rebound, he comes the other way.
Don't want him dropping his head like that. And, you know, Dimoff has started out hot, and we haven't heard from him since.
Nice up and under.
Yeah.
A rare two-pointer from Graves.
Well,
he'll take it.
If you're a shooter and you start missing your outside shot, you go to the basket.
And that gives the Arrows the 1-point lead once again. Kyle continuing to work on the left side. Back out top, Dimoff. Traveling violation.
And Kyle is not the largest player. He's not the tallest player out there, but he loves working in the paint. You can tell.
Zervis casually tosses it to the middle. Back out to Graves.
Is that 7 now?
7.
We're getting in Steph Curry territory. And just when Hatch was starting to run away with it, that lead had grown and grown. All of a sudden, Tulsa comes roaring back, and now they lead it by 4.
So after just about 2 minutes of play, we have Chef 54 and Hatch 50. And again, with those 7 3-pointers, Graves now has 23 for the game.
Yeah, he has put on a shooting clinic today, and truly, some of those threes that he missed very easily could have gone down. They just went around the rim or rattled out. And I mean, 7 is really impressive, but it's not beyond the realm of imagination to think that he could have double-digit 3-pointers in this game.
Certainly not. He's had several rattle in and out. He's had some just off the back iron. And meanwhile, for Hatch, we have Kyle with 13 and Schultz with 10 to lead the Cougars.
And even with that shooting performance, it's a 4-point game. So Hatch has to realize that, even though he is lighting it up. Graves, they've had the lead, and they had the lead in this fourth quarter. But right now it's just been nothing but Tulsa Chef arrows, and Hatch has got to come up with an answer here.
Meanwhile, a quick update from Drury. It's back to a barn burner over there as they've got some back and forth action. HEA currently down 39-40.
Wow, what a game.
And it's in overtime, a possible double overtime on the docket.
Wow. Well, if you like basketball, this is your kind of day.
That time we're going to have a reach-in foul from Zervis as he was barreled over, but the ref got him on the reach before that point. Underneath, nice look, up and in for Schultz.
We've seen that all day today where coaches out of a timeout draw up an inbounds play, and they are able to easily get 2 points.
And you can see the Cougars now in a man defense. They played zone much of this game. I would imagine they are trying to make sure they key in on Graves. Three-pointer, no. Rebound to Dimoff.
Chance to tie this one up.
Kyle works the spin, puts it up just a little too strong.
Almost went down to tie this game, but just rimmed out.
And on the drive, a little too strong as well was Stout. He was looking for some contact.
He's an aptly named player. I mean, he is strong. That time, no, just a little too strong on the shot.
Dimoff back out top. Three-pointer, yes.
There's the lead.
Second three-pointer from Hively.
And as I mentioned, we hadn't heard from him much since that first quarter. But boy, you'll take that as long as you start to show up again in the end of the game, and now his team is suddenly in the lead again.
Zervis kicks it baseline. That shot too strong. Rebound to Hatch. They recently took the first lead they've had in a while, and now they have a chance to extend theirs.
As we mentioned, it was all even in this quarter. But now they've got a 1-point lead with a chance to build on that.
And now they're eating some time off the clock as they're wanting the arrows to come out and get them. As of now, Tulsa's okay not doing that.
Oh, thought he was going to hand it off, but he faked it.
Three-pointer, yes.
Oh!
Hively is now feeling it.
The celebration as he ran down court.
In the corner, air ball. Kyle comes up with the rebound. He's fouled by Graves.
All of a sudden, things have swung the direction of this HAACH Cougars team out of Michigan.
And who else is at the free throw line other than Kyle?
Kyle. Even when he's not near the paint, he somehow knows how to get to the free throw line.
1-1. First shot is up, and that's good.
In the NCAA tournament, it was an upset, Michigan, but kind of not an upset. They were the lower seeded team. First real upset, Richmond just knocked off Iowa, who was a trendy pick to make the Final Four. They won by 4.
Wow. Brackets busted already.
Yep. I know mine is.
And so Tulsa is going to take a timeout as they are now trailing by 6. Still plenty of time, 3:24 to go in the fourth quarter. 30-second timeout, so we will keep it here and get you updated on some of the action that's going to be happening next here in Drury University.
Yeah, I think coming up next, we've got another 18U D2 Copper game. It's, I think, going to be the West this time. It'll be the North Metro Blazers, and they'll be taking on Team USA Silver.
Yeah, so the cool thing about that, I was talking with Jeremy before the game, is that for most of the tournament, we've been explaining that Team USA cannot advance.
Right.
However, that has to apply to the gold bracket.
Right.
So outside of gold, like this one, for example, being copper.
Right.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Team USA does have the ability to win some hardware if they win that game.
Yeah, and I only know that because my middle son 1 year played with Team USA, and his team actually won every game but one, and they ended up winning whatever their trophy was at the end, and that's the first time I ever realized you were allowed to do that.
That's a very interesting and unique feature to Nationals.
Yep.
Graves thought about it. He's been the hot man for Tulsa. On the drive, Zervis puts it up and in.
Oh, nice answer. Nice answer.
Now we'll see if the defense can get some stops. Still trailing by 4, still plenty of time.
You got to think they're going to, not that, but you got to think they're going to get the ball in the hands of Kyle maybe, try to get him back to the free throw line.
And we'll also see if the Cougars have the patience to take some time off the clock and not fire up a three-pointer.
Ooh, just out of the reach of Shipman.
Dimoff working the handle. He loses it. Zervis comes the other way. That's going to be ripped away by Kyle. Wow.
Oh, great hustle by Kyle there.
And now Kyle's going to get fouled.
That's what we said. He'd get to the free throw line. He can do that anywhere on this court. And boy, that's a heartbreaker if you're rooting for the Arrows there, as Zervis was taking it to the other end, and just out of nowhere, Wade Kyle put in that 5th gear and just was able to tip the ball away and steal it back. But he misses on that opportunity.
A rare miss. I think he was 10 for 12 before that.
Yeah, rare miss. It's a 4-point game, Paul. There's plenty of time, 2 minutes. You don't have to have a 3 here.
Zervis gets a breakaway.
That time he got the layup. We got a 2-point barn burner, 2 minutes to go.
Hold on to your seats, everybody. We've still got plenty to play in this Copper Championship.
Love it. Kyle is such a good ball handler. He's good at driving. And even though he can get to the free throw line, he's also able to drive and then back it out. Oh, that time he goes up with a shot. And the official is going to say she blew the whistle. She said, my fault. I think I might have been a jump ball.
So there wasn't a call that was officially made. The referee looked like initially she said it was inadvertent whistle, and then they changed the call to a travel.
Yep.
So I think that was initially what she was going for.
Yep.
And I think she just got caught up in double checking to make sure.
And the coach for HAACH wanted it explained, and she did, and then he said, okay, fine, give me a timeout. I think what happened there was it looked like when he jumped in the air, she considered that he had jumped, and when he came down, there was a travel involved there in some way. I think she was talking about was a double dribble. She discussed it. And once again, I do want to compliment our officials, and not that they've ever been bad, but I think from my viewpoint, this year's probably been the most consistent officiating that we've seen across the board. They've had a great balance of letting there be some contact, but whenever it gets to the point where it changes the play, most of the time they're making the call, but they're letting these guys play, and you got kids coming from all over the country. It's the same thing they have in the NCAA tournament. Some conferences are more physical, some are not, and I feel like they've done a great job in the middle of the road, at the same time knowing if you're listening to this and you have a favorite team, you most likely disagree at some point, but I will tell you just from an observer standpoint that's just been seeing all these games, just a great job by the officiating crew and when they make mistakes to get them right.
And I think a great job too by Coach Baker to just accept that call.
Right.
And very humbly said, okay, I'm good with the call, let's keep going.
Not going to change it anyway. They got a chance to tie here, 125 in this one.
Shipman squared up like he was going to shoot, and then as he moved to his right, he switched the pivot foot.
Sometimes go with your first instinct. Just go ahead and shoot that thing. I'm sure he was worried it was too early in the clock, but caused him to turn the ball over there.
And now we're going to have to see how the HAACH decides to work on their offense as they're running a 3-man weave.
They've got a 2-point lead. Oh.
And we're going to have a blocking foul is going to be called. Tulsa doesn't like it.
Yeah, that was close, but I do think he just had to lean a little bit to make that happen. And that's what the official explains to him. Says you were set, but then you leaned out with your shoulder, and that's what caused the contact.
Well, the other piece of that is that was Shipman's 4th, as Kyle knocks down yet another free throw.
And not to just keep saying great things about the officials, but I do love the way that they're explaining this last minute, as every call is crucial, and they went over and explained it to the Arrows coach.
We all know that you're buttering them up for your inevitable return next year.
Absolutely.
Oh, huge shot by Shipman.
They had to have that. They were down 4, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point game again. Great answer.
It is buckle down time. 45 seconds to go. Dimoff with the ball at the top of the key. He's driving to his right. Wants to hand it off, gets caught.
38 seconds, you don't have to foul. Still time. You can get a steal here, get a turnover. HAACH being sure-handed, though.
They're trying to get the ball in the hands of Kyle. He's driving, working. Spins. Ball's knocked away. It will stay here with red.
Yeah, that's an instance where your enthusiasm, because you want the ball so badly when it goes out, but it clearly went off of the Tulsa players. And so one of the things that's great here this year, Paul, at this venue, is that as they're playing, a lot of times, and we saw it earlier, which was a game earlier yesterday, I believe it was, during one of the close games, a player had to turn and look behind him to see the clock. He didn't realize right above in the shot clock, there's a game clock. And even though we don't use a shot clock, the game clock is correct at the very top. And so if the players, if you're a coach, you want to remind your players that so that they're not looking over their head and wasting time or even maybe giving up a turnover. Know where the clock is, know how many timeouts you have, and then know what the plan is. And I got to believe if you are with the Cougars, your plan right now is make them foul us. Okay, unless there's a wide open shot, but really offense is not what you're thinking about. You've only got a 1-point lead. Go ahead and just try to run this clock out. And on the other side, if you're the Arrows, you got to keep that pressure up and hope that they're going to make a mistake. And probably you're going to tell your players when it hits a certain point, here's where we are going to foul.
I would certainly agree with that assessment. You got to have a strategy for at what point you do foul if you can't get a steal.
Right.
Again, as we're coming back in, we can see that there's 16.9 seconds left. And you could imagine that Kyle's probably going to want the ball in his hands because he loves that free throw line.
Oh, yeah. And he's the one player I would not want to foul if there's any way to not. Oh, and the inbounds. They proved me wrong. Didn't think they were going to try to score, but they had an easy shot there. They're up 3 now.
And we're going to have a blocking foul on the other end, 7.9 seconds left. And so that will be Ethan Stout shooting 2.
And boy, if they had checked the clock and if they had decided they were going to foul, and that might have been something they talked about, you would have wanted to do that before a shot because they only have 4 fouls.
Yeah, and I think the Cougars were arguing that it wasn't on the shot, but the referee did throw up the 2. And that first free throw from Stout is good.
And I think that's an instance where a player, knowing the game situation, goes into a shooting motion once he starts to feel contact and hoping that the official will call it. Just under 8 seconds to go, and it's a 2-point game. Do you miss this one on purpose, or do you shoot it in? We're going to find out.
We are going to find out. I think I would go for the make.
And he does. It's a 1-point game again. 7.9 to go.
And it's interesting to me that Kyle was inbounding. I figured he would want the ball in his hands, but he quickly recognized he had a player open down the court, but before they threw the ball in, there was a timeout called.
Well, and at first, you could hear some of the groans from the Cougars players and fans, and then they realized that the timeout was by their own coach. He was wide open, too.
So I believe we have just about 7 seconds left in the game. So the Arrows are going to have to figure out. Well, they don't have to figure it out. They're going to have to foul immediately if they don't get a steal. And the question is it going to get into the hands of Kyle, who's been the sure hand for the Cougars, or are they going to try and make sure that he's not the one that gets the ball?
He'd be the last person you'd want to foul, but at the same time, he has missed a couple. So sometimes you don't get the luxury of deciding who you foul. It's probably a couple players they're going to try to look for. But again, this is one of those things they might remember from their last game if there was somebody who wasn't hitting their free throws, but they're not super familiar with each other. So in this one, most likely you foul whoever's closest, get the foul, and then you've got your game plan you just went over on what happens after the free throw.
So just under 8 seconds to play.
Other thing is, Chef has 9 fouls, so they're going to get 2 shots, Hatch, anyway.
And they're double teaming Kyle, and it's going to be Dimoff that gets fouled.
Yeah, boy, they made him pass right where they wanted it, under the basket. But Dimoff able to split the defenders and grab that ball, and then as he tried to escape their clutches, they're called for the penalty.
So they're having a quick conference while their teammate shoots the free throws. He will be shooting 2.
I got to think no matter what happens here, they're going to foul at this end of the court because they've only got 4, and just try to make that 6.6 just get broken up with a couple of fouls because they're not anywhere near the bonus yet.
Both free throws calmly knocked down by Dimoff, his first points of the second half.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happens.
Takes off about a second and a half. Just 5 team fouls, though. All right, and that took some more time off, and the officials going to make sure it looks like they're going to keep it at 4.3, and not sure right there if he did that just to get the ball in a different location. But that did take some time off the clock, and right now what he's got to be telling his players, they've got to come up with a strategy because there's still 1 foul to give for Hatch. They can foul 1 time without getting a shot, and maybe what you want to do with 4.3 is let them catch it and then make sure they don't get in a shooting motion. That's the other thing, because if you put them on the free throw line with 3 shots, they could tie it up. But I might let them catch it and make sure as long as they're not in the shooting motion, go ahead and foul them. Most likely that's going to take another second off the clock, and then they're going to have less than 4 seconds to come up with something offensively.
And I was going to say, if you are the Chef Arrows, do you play into the fact that you know they're trying to foul you? Do you inbound it to someone at the 3-point line and have them throw something up, but at the same time, you don't want to get a terrible shot off just because you're looking for a foul?
You could do that, and that, I was going to say the other thing is the Cougars might realize you think they're going to foul, and maybe they won't. And when you're expecting it, if you're not ready to run a play, so I would still go ahead and try to run my play, but know that if they foul you, then here's what we're going to do. Oh, and that is what he did. He wanted to be able to get a direct pass in.
And they do call that on the floor.
Yeah, and it
that
was.
Ran about 2 more seconds off the clock.
It was a great effort by Zervis to try to get it on the shot, but it was clearly fouled on the floor. But now
they will not be fouling. Well, they might.
Yeah.
Go for a 1-and-1.
Yep. But it would be a bonus if they get the ball.
On the far side to Graves. That's tipped out of bounds, and it's to White. 0.9 seconds left.
Looked to me like it went off of his face, but the official says no, it was off the hands of the Cougars. 0.9 seconds.
3-pointer is up, and that is no good. And it is going to be the HAACH Cougars that win the championship game of the Copper East. And Tulsa Chef Arrows fall just short. Final score is 66-63. As coming up next, we've got the West version of this game. And want to thank you for joining us on this broadcast. My name is Paul Gilmore. I was joined by Scott Staten, and we will be back with more coverage after this short intermission.